Welcome to Extra Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And this is the Extra channel, where we put extra things that are extra to the main channel.
Not prepared, not thought out.
At all, usually.
Probably not worth watching.
Actually, that's not true. Last time we had at least a list of
runner-ups.
Of runner-ups for the car of the year. That is, unless this video goes out before that one, which is highly possible.
Yes, if you haven't subscribed, if you're subscribed to the main channel and you're not subscribed to this one,
yeah,
you subscribe to this one if you want to see us.
Is it?
Dude, it's 6 in the morning eating popcorn.
You know it's not 6 in the morning.
They don't know.
It could be any time.
So today we want to talk about super trucks.
Super trucks.
I don't think that was ever a phrase I'd say in my whole life. Super trucks.
No.
And we had a lot of fun with them. And so if you haven't seen it already, and this video is definitely out by now.
Yeah, that's just out right now.
It's out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would have to be a shot before that.
Yeah.
Time travel.
So we put the Ram TRX, which is a Hellcat 702 horsepower
Hellcat
powered Ram, against the Shelby American 770 horsepower Super Snake Sport F-150.
I'm glad you got the whole
Single cab.
I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you did the numbers, because I would continue. Sorry. So the F-150. We should talk about that first.
So we'll start with that. So as you know from the title, Thomas and I both chose the TRX. So I lived with the Super Snake Sport, the Shelby American F-150 Super Snake Sport, and for 3 days, and it was a very interesting 3 days. So I drove it very, very far in that time. I think I did 1,000 kilometers on it.
Just because of where the pickup was.
In 3 days.
Well, that's like what, like $900 of gas?
It was very expensive. Yeah, even cruising on the highway, I think I was doing like 17 liters per 100 kilometers.
Yeah.
Which in miles per gallon is this.
That's actually, you did 17?
17.
I averaged 25 liters per 100 kilometers.
On the highway?
I did a lot of highway driving in the Ram. I mean, maybe a little bit less than you.
I can't imagine.
I couldn't.
I wish we'd checked after the racing what we were doing.
It must have been unbelievable.
Both supercharged V8s.
It's the mass and the wind resistance.
Yeah, it's not good for fuel.
Right?
So the Super Snake Sport, very, very loud. Everyone was saying how light it was compared to the TRX. It doesn't drive light. It doesn't feel light.
No.
And at the risk of upsetting...
It is lighter, though. Like,
it's a lot lighter.
Like 2,000 pounds
lighter.
lighter?
Yeah, it's a lot lighter.
Yes.
At the risk of upsetting Shelby American, I think they are overpriced products. I think if you really want to be in the Shelby registry and you want a Shelby...
Official words from James Engelsman from Throttle House.
If you want a Shelby registration number, and I first of all, I think it looks amazing.
They look fantastic.
And if you have the money, that might be enough reason.
Yes.
Because it also is really quick.
Yes.
But it's 770 horsepower, allegedly. And, okay, so...
Okay.
you know what, I'm going to address the allegedly part there.
Okay, go ahead.
I believe it is very powerful. However... Yes. We've now driven a Super Snake Mustang. We've driven the Super Snake F-150 normal one, and now we've driven the Super Snake Sport. And even the Mustang, like go in a Mustang GT, go to second gear and floor it. You can't keep the power down. Like it won't put the power down through those rear wheels. And yet somehow, on a not very hot day in the Super Snake Mustang, we were pretty much able to floor it. And even though it did feel incredibly powerful,
it should that much more.
Yeah, powerful. Like go try a red eye.
Yes.
And it will spin.
Yes.
And that's so.
I mean, in defense of it, the GT500 puts its power down pretty amazingly well.
It does. Yeah.
But the GT500 feels faster.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
That's the Mustang Super Snake's biggest issue.
Yes.
Is that the GT500 exists
for
cheaper, and
which is built from the ground up.
Yeah, arguably feels more special.
Yeah.
And the GT500 we test drove on the track. On the Throttle House track, the owner of that also owns a Super Snake Mustang, and he prefers the GT500 now. So there's a lot of merit to the GT500. Anyway, back to the Super Snake Sport truck. It is stupid in the best way. It just feels really, really silly.
Yes.
You put your foot down. Like I made a thing of it when I was driving it back. I was trying to call as many people as I could. And just saying, listen to this, and then
on the phone it comes through so well.
It comes through, yeah. It just like,
whoa, yeah. You can
it's
hear
this
the
crazy sound.
supercharger.
So everyone's like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
I didn't see their face, but I imagine that was what it was saying.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is that they're really cool. At its cool factor, they completely are worth the dollar.
Yeah.
But the fact that there isn't really much. Okay, it's the interior for me that makes a big difference.
Well, this was so the way it works is it's a donor car, right? So if you buy a Ram TRX, Dodge make the Ram TRX
Out of the
and
factory,
they sell it at the dealership. If you get a Super Snake Sport, Shelby American have designed what the Super Snake Sport should be. They then send the instruction manual to Shelby American licensed
certified shops.
Yeah. And then that shop builds it to the specifications by Shelby American.
They go buy an F-150.
Yeah, so there's a Ford F-150. Shelby American give you the instruction manual, goes off to the certified shop, they make it, and then it gets sold to you.
Yes.
So it's a lot more stages, and it basically makes it an aftermarket thing.
It's just an aftermarket build.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's not the same Shelby as
GT500
Shelby.
No.
So there's that, which kind of, I don't know whether it makes it more special or less special. In my mind, it's strange.
It's cool because it's like a tuner truck.
Yeah.
Right? It has that feel. If you're going for that, it completely accomplishes that.
So the one we used, the donor F-150, was a
basest of
base spec.
Base.
In order to bring down the base price, and I think it was the one shown at SEMA for the first time.
Oh,
that was the one we used. Yeah, 001. It was the first one made,
cool.
and it was the first one shown at SEMA, and we got to drive it here, which is very, very cool. But it didn't feel that well made, and I don't mean it didn't have a fancy interior. I don't care about that. I know most people, when it comes to trucks, the same reason the 4Runner is a good vehicle. The interior is garbage.
Yes.
But that's not what makes it good.
Yeah.
What made the Super Snake feel not great was
everything about it.
It cranked and it grinded and it made sounds and it felt like it was not on its last legs. What's the legs before the last legs? Like if you were a centipede,
it's the second
and
last
these are your last
legs.
legs, it's definitely in the final third.
The final third of legs.
The 33 legs at the back.
Maybe 2 to 3 sets of legs left at most.
And it was a new car, and that was kind of what upset me.
Well, what happened was we did donuts with it just for a shot, and then I went out to go do donuts.
And I was like,
just don't do them though. And I was like, why? What's wrong? I did one donut, and I immediately stopped, and I opened the window, and it's like, it doesn't feel like it's going to be able to hold on to this.
Yeah, it doesn't want to do it.
No, and which is strange because although to be fair to it, the F-150 crew cab Super Snake that we drove.
Yeah.
Wait, did I say crew cab? Is that right? I'm not a truck guy. The big cab with the seats in the back. The black one that we drove.
4 doors, yeah.
4 door. I drifted that one a lot. Like I killed a set of tires in that, and it.
Oh, sorry. So I want to talk about that one actually.
Oh, okay.
Because the donor car for that was one that was only two wheel drive.
Yes. Oh, right.
So
everyone asked.
And you can get a 4-high one.
Yes.
But that was 2-wheel drive, and that was the only other car we had access to. So we didn't want to put the TRX up against a 2-wheel drive Super Snake.
Right.
So we grabbed the 4-wheel drive Super Snake Sport, which also has 2-high, but we drove it in 4-high.
We drove it in 4-high
because it had the ability.
We somehow managed to not say that in the race.
Yeah, we forgot.
We forgot to say that.
It's featuring in another drag race, and I will say that.
We will make sure it's in there. But basically, both of those trucks in the race that we're talking about were in a 4-wheel drive configuration of some kind, right? I tested the Ram in both 4 auto and 4 high, and 4 auto ended up being the one that was.
And that vehicle can't go into 2-wheel drive.
I don't believe it can. No. But yeah, that I drove that in the best suited based on my research and testing to do the race in. But yeah, both of those were in 4-wheel drive, and the only other one we had access to was a 2-wheel drive. So even though yes, the crew cab would have matched the crew cab better. I don't know if you guys know this, it's hard to get access to Shelby American products.
Yeah, right? most of the work we do for Throttle House is organizing. And you don't get to see that because it sucks. I would hate for you to see that. Yeah, but like gaining access to vehicles is really difficult. We don't settle.
Yeah.
And that's our biggest stress is we won't settle for terrible mismatches, things that don't make sense. And when you see other YouTube channels do it, it's because it is, I totally get it, it's really hard.
Yes.
And you are at the whim of what the manufacturer gives you or what's available.
Yep.
The only way to not be at the whim is to work your absolute titties off. And that's what
we say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what we do. And we try and make stuff happen. So yes, it was lighter, but we wanted to put the most... Because of what we feel about Shelby American not being completely perfect, we wanted to put their very best against Dodge's brand new Hellcat truck.
Which is their very best.
And in fairness,
it was a really close race.
TRX did really, really well.
Really well.
Considering the extra weight, and it didn't have sport tires. And I think that was everyone's key takeaway.
Yes.
After they were like, you guys, you shouldn't have put these together.
They were like, well, I mean, the Ram did pretty well, though.
Yeah, to be fair, all this proves is that the TRX is great. And it is.
And they're right.
And I didn't live with it, so
Okay, so I lived with the TRX for a week.
Yeah.
And
I had to live through your Instagram stories like everybody else.
like everybody else.
He doesn't talk to me in between filming.
Did you spend some time in it?
None.
That's not true. You drove it a little bit though, obviously.
On the track.
Yeah. So the TRX is I've
Sorry,
never.
can I just trouble you for some? I want some pop.
Oh, you want some?
Yeah.
So will you interrupt me
You
now?
put it there. It's just sitting there.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So they're on the floor now. The floor owns the popcorn. So the TRX had this ability, like nothing I've ever seen in the world, to drive over anything. And that was the coolest part about it, was that it's like a foot of suspension travel. It's on Bilstein racing dampers with a remote reservoir so they can take incredible amounts of heat and like a million suspension compressions without overheating and stopping doing damping. And that car was like, speed bumps, boom, over them. Coming out of the driveway, boom, boom, you don't have to worry about ground clearance. And there's something to be said about just never having to worry, ever, about driving over whatever you want.
Well, you wanted me to feel that.
I did. And so what I did was I said, here, do a rip in the car all the way down the runway. He did that. He came back. I said, okay, and do the same thing on the grass on the side of the runway. And he went,
and this is not like flat grass. This is like
it's
bumpy.
Like,
there's like
yeah.
mounds. This was a World War One airstrip.
And you went flat out. I was like, oh, he's really good.
You said go flat out.
He trusted me.
I trust you.
Idiot. And then at the very end, there's a dip, and you just were like, and you just went through the dip.
I did get scared though.
It took it totally fine.
I was like 100 kilometers an hour, and then there's this big dip, and I was
because
like,
you were braking at that point.
This is the end of this car.
Yeah. Sorry.
And we've never returned a car damaged.
No, and so that one just went boom, and it was totally
fine.
It was
absolutely fine.
It's a crazy vehicle. The thing is though, so I understand what the truck is. It's literally like a Baja. It's like an off-road, high-speed truck, and it is unbelievably good at that. But the price you pay for having dampers that can support that weight over those types of heavy suspension compressions is that on the road they're like pretty stiff, right? So like if you hit little bumps, it really jostles the truck back and forth. So the ride over broken pavement wasn't good.
No.
So it's worth saying that like if you're looking for the cushiest, most comfortable ride, it's not that. Even though it doesn't have leaf springs in the back, it has an actual coil spring in the back. It didn't have the nicest ride. But then you hit a big bump and you don't care. So you're like, oh, that's why the ride's crap.
But also, you said never having to worry.
Yeah,
filling the car up is a worry.
Oh, that's a worry.
How much was it to fill it up with one tank?
It was like $150 or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's over 100 liters.
After not much driving.
Oh, it's just after I got to tell you this. After the track day, after the race, it was at just above half a tank. And the range left in the tank was like 112 kilometers. That's like GT500 level.
Almost. Nothing is worse than a GT500.
The tank is pretty small, the GT500. It was like 85 kilometers per half tank.
No, when we finished with the GT500, at the end of the day, we filled up the tank, and it was orange, saying please fill up.
Yes.
With a full tank.
Yeah.
Because it expected less than 100 kilometers from that tank.
Yes.
Because we've been tracking it.
Yeah.
So it showed full, but it was light. It was lit up orange, saying please fill up.
It would have been 100 miles. 100 miles.
100 miles. It was like less than 100 miles on a full tank.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
Because it was factoring in flat out on the track with Randy Pope's driving it. But yeah, so this TRX wasn't really that good on fuel, and the ride isn't amazing, but it's literally the ultimate truck right now.
If you want to buy it off the shelf, which I think I would want to do.
There's also some, like, I drove the previous generation Ram. I spent some time with it, and I hated it. I despised it with a passion. It was crap in every single way. The quality of the interior was garbage. The seating position was not usable. Like, the pedals adjusted, but it didn't matter what you do. Your foot was still like cocked back like this to be able to get it on the brake pedal. You couldn't find, and the new one is way better. The new Ram design is a great truck. There's headroom, there's shoulder room.
But it creates a market for Ford to do the Predator engined Raptor. And
the thing is that it's not like Ford isn't going to retaliate because
people said this when we did the video against the Super Snake. Everyone was like, TRX is supposed to go up against the Raptor.
We know
that's what Dodge marketing has told you, because that's where Dodge destroys the Raptor, because the Raptor's not nearly as powerful.
So it wasn't enough. Also, someone else has already done the race, so we didn't really want to do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they market it as I don't know if you guys have clued into this. They call it the TRX, which is a T-Rex, which is bigger than a Velociraptor. That's the marketing. That's literally why they named it like that.
Isn't everything bigger than a Velociraptor?
Yeah, like a dog is bigger than a
real dog. I thought they were like chickens,
They're like very they're a bit bigger than that. But yeah, so in the glove compartment, there's a diagram that shows you a person, the truck, a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and a Velociraptor for scale, right? The classic like dinosaur scale, just to remind you that you are bigger than a raptor. So
and you've paid $50,000.
So
more.
what's Ford gonna name? Is it still gonna be the Raptor? What are they gonna call it? What's bigger than a Tyrannosaurus Rex? What's that like?
The mix.
Yeah, what's that one
from
called?
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it's called the. I don't know. Anyway, it's gonna have to have a different name
The giant one.
The Raptor's very small. But yeah, anyway, TRX is a pretty unbelievable truck.
They should call it Apex Predator. It has the Predator engine in it. The Apex.
Hear that, Ford? He just named your car.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's call it the Mustang Apex. Let's call everything Mustang. Let's do it. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Just Mustangs.
No one will
Mustang
ever.
everything.
No one will ever object to that. Yeah. That could be what your right nut is. The Mustang.
Done.
Anyway, so the TRX I really, really like driving, living with it. It was comfortable. I really like the big infotainment screen, and I love, first of all, that it's a big tablet that's integrated into a dashboard. You don't need to glue an iPad to a flat surface. You can integrate it. It's not that hard. And it had Apple CarPlay at the top, and then at the bottom. That's the feature of infotainment, by the way.
Yeah,
You get your Apple CarPlay at the top, and you get the thing at the bottom. Other than that, the interior was too cluttered.
You said it was busy.
It was really visually busy. Like the center infotainment, the gauge cluster screen's too laggy, and it's just too much stuff going on. You can't ever process what's happening in it. Also, I might be a complete idiot, but I have to say this because consumer information. If you put the headlights in auto, you know how it dims the interior lights at night?
Yeah.
It doesn't dim them enough so they're too bright at night. So then you have to go down to the little button and switch them down. So you have to manually put your lights on at night, and you click them down off the brightest setting, and they become super dim. So the difference between the top dimmable setting and the brightness setting is too big.
There's not a range?
No. Well, there is a range below that. It's literally like, let's say it's 100, then it goes to 20.
Oh.
19, 18, 17.
It's like using someone else's shower, where it's just like freezing or boiling.
Oh, okay, yes.
There's no middle zone.
Well, yeah, because you don't know the shower well
You don't
enough.
know the shower.
No,
Maybe
but
you just don't know the RAM.
I tried to know the knob. I couldn't know the knob, and it wouldn't.
And Thomas knows knobs.
I do, and it wouldn't let me set it in a spot where in the daytime it would be the right brightness, and the nighttime it would be the right. I had to manually set it every single night, and if I'm an idiot, I'm an idiot. But I swear to God, it was stupid, and I couldn't figure it out. Is there anything else I want to say about that truck? The brakes.
No, the mud kicking up.
No, that's an actual thing.
Yeah.
So the front tires are they're like off-road tires, right? And they're so wide, the front stance is so wide that you will kick up mud and dirt off the ground and hit the side of the truck, which is where the door handles are. I think I did an Instagram story of this, right?
Yeah.
You literally have the dirtiest door handles. It's actually a thing. At first you're like, oh, that's funny because the tires are so wide. And then the third time you go to open the door and you have to like use a Kleenex or something.
Mud, yeah.
It's just like, what? Like you can't get in the car without getting your hands dirty. That and the brakes need to be spoken about. Obviously the tires, the wheels were small, so the tires could be big, but for the amount of tire for off-roading, which means the brakes are tiny. They were very powerful. They must have put a really good pad in there, but we genuinely cooked them in 2 drag races.
You can see the smoke.
We didn't make that up.
Coming off of Thomas's car in the drag race.
Beforehand.
You got a bit of smoke coming out yours.
I do?
Yep.
Oh yeah, my brakes are on fire. Okay, gonna go cool down, bye. Also, we did a couple test runs earlier before we actually did the race, but those 2 races that you saw happened in pretty much real time, with a little bit of, actually more of a gap than you saw in the video in between them. But there was no races in between. I didn't do like 10 runs. It was literally just two like top speed runs almost, because the top speed isn't very high because of the tires, and then a full brake down to 0. And by the second one, the brakes were almost on fire. So I don't know what to say. It happened.
Well, the Super Snake didn't have that. Talking about last legs, didn't feel like that at all.
No, it didn't.
It braked fine.
It had bigger brakes too.
And it was lighter.
But
yeah, when it comes to the races, we only run the races again if we feel like something didn't go right.
Yes, we test the cars. We test the cars to make sure that we can do the best possible launch.
Yeah, we do a few practices.
We do practices. We get to learn the car, and we will only ever redo the race if one of us was like, listen, I think there's a better launch in that car.
Yeah, the launch control didn't work, or it didn't brake torque hard enough.
So all the races that you see in any of our drag races are like the representation of a real world race where everything went right for both drivers.
Correct.
drivers. Yes. Yeah, so that was exactly what happened. Both those launch controls fine. I mean,
there was one day where everything started going wrong, and we haven't released that video. In fact, I might just tell the world now. So we did.
Are you gonna actually? You don't want to do a whole episode on this? It's a pretty.
No, we'll do
story.
it. But I want to gauge their interest with this.
Oh, okay.
Do you guys want to see a whole episode on this? We raced the C63S, the new 2021 Supra, and an M4 CS.
Yep.
And it all went wrong.
Everything went wrong. Nothing crashed or anything.
No,
it wasn't
just as far as
no fires.
These days don't always go smoothly, and there's degrees of smoothness that they go. Truck day was great.
Truck day was great, yeah.
But yeah,
this was one of those days where the cars didn't agree with us.
And one of the cars played up, and I'm not going to say which one it is, but if you want us to make that video, spend the time editing, talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm in. We'll do it.
We'll do it. Yeah,
we'll do it.
We'll do. The thing is that I don't want to be too hard on that particular car because I like it.
Yeah.
But I guess it's, to be fair, certain cars don't cooperate when you're trying to do a thing with them.
That car is very good at anyway, we won't tease it anymore.
Yeah.
But that video will come out. Anyway, so that's why we choose the TRX over the Super Snake Sport.
Did we even actually say why? We just talked about both the cars individually.
It's because we would rather take the TRX off the shelf from the dealership.
Off the shelf.
It feels better made.
Yeah, for the road it makes more sense. There's clearance.
It makes more sense.
Like those rear trailing arms on the Super Snake were that high off the ground.
Yes, they were.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just really dicey.
Although the side pipe exhausts were amazing.
Yeah, when they coal rolled the poor cameraman trying to get.
I don't agree with coal rolling. I got bullied with coal rolling once. I drove down.
You did get coal rolled, didn't you? In Texas.
When I bought my Subaru BRZ, I bought it in Canada, and the next day I drove down to Texas. So it was a 3-day drive, and I got caught next to a pickup truck in Texas, of which there are many. And he looked over me, he revved, and I was like, "Look at this BRZ. It looks like a sports car." Anyway, we both floored it at the light, which you shouldn't do, but, I'd just driven 3 days. I was delirious. Yeah. And he coal rolled me. And if you don't know what coal rolling is, I didn't know what it was. I was so confused. He pulled away, and
because of the tune of his engine.
And he covered my car in black smoke.
Yeah.
So not only did I lose, I was humiliated, which I think was his goal.
Yeah, surprise.
So he and I weren't friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
you got genuinely coal rolled.
Coal rolling. So it's a very disrespectful, stupid, redneck thing to do, and I don't appreciate it.
When you told me that story, I was like, oh my God. I feel like when you first told me the story, I'm not sure that you knew the term. You heard of it. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, you got coal rolled. I was so excited. I was so excited when you got coal rolled.
My first impression was like, hi, his car's broken. And then it was like, oh, you meant to do that.
You meant to do that, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, that was funny.
Anyway, Super trucks are dumb, but they're fun.
But we love them, yeah.
And the TRX
is the one to get out of those two for sure. Yeah. All prices equal.
Until Ford bring out the Apex Predator.
Which is what we're calling it now. Yeah.
It's a genius thing. Is there anything above Apex?
Well, that's what it means. It's the top.
Right, but then I'm Apex plus one. Yeah.
Well, this is the exit.
Apex plus Infinity plus one.
Apex, exit. And Infinity plus one.
The Alpha, the Omega. Fun cars, really dumb.
Yeah.
Probably just get a base truck and an actual sports car. Okay. How many times do we finish a video like that? I'd rather just get the normal version of nothing and then a sports car. Yeah,
we got to come up with a new... You know what else this is time now to do? It's time to end the video, and we're really bad at this.
One thing the TRX failed to do. Sorry.
Well, the video's not over.
I don't think they embraced Hellcat enough. You look at the car.
I agree.
And it doesn't look...
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they have a Hellcat symbol on it? They love putting Hellcats on the side.
Well, also because of the placement of the engine. It was really far back, so you didn't get to see the cool...
You had to really peer in.
Yeah, really see it. And they put these big plastic covers on top of it.
I'd say embrace the Hellcat more. Like, that's the sales point of that car.
Yeah, well, also because like anything that has a Hellcat in it has a really exciting engine bay. You see the supercharger, right? Is this right up front?
Although you can hear it in that.
You can
screams,
hear it. It's actually annoying. Actually, I forgot to say that.
It's annoying.
Yeah, it stops being cool after like
Basically, we hate
day.
the TRX. It spits mud on your hands. It makes stupid sounds.
Yeah, the rider's harsh. Smoke. Yeah, and that means that we love the TRX. Anyway, now it is time to end the video. So
I figured we'd end with you saying we love the TRX.
We love... Oh.
And that means we love the TRX.
And that means we love the TRX.